Stay up to date with all that's happening with the new national party, NNP. Send us a message via text or WhatsApp on 405-8683 with your name, email, and constituency. Stay in the know with NNP. Get updated.
Sunday, November 3rd.
Santa Claus will be at the National Stadium as Megaforce Promotions presents Christmas in November.
The Mega Bingo.
Imagine you can win up to $100,000 in raw cash. There'll be 18 games at $5,000 each and one game at $10,000. Tickets are $60 for one, $100 for two.
This year, Christmas is coming early.
As Megaforce Promotions present Christmas in November, the Mega Bingo.
Are you ready to win?
Grenada government provides relief for retired public servants. Details to this story and more in the national report. With the details to the news for Thursday, October 31st, 2019, I am Rakisha St. Louis. A promise by the government of Grenada to bring greater financial security and improved social well-being to retired public officers who are currently not receiving benefits from government is now a reality. The advanced payment to qualifying retirees commenced Wednesday, October 30th at the Ministry of Finance. These retirees received the payments inclusive of retroactive benefits. Thereafter, the monthly payment from government will be the top-up that will ensure that retirees receive at least 70% of their last salary when combined with the NIS benefit. This payment is provided as a buffer while the public awaits the court ruling on the matter of pension for public officers. Beneficiaries expressed their gratitude to the government for this initiative.
Now the Prime Minister has took upon himself also to assist me and the other colleagues, and I'm very grateful to you, Mr. Prime Minister, and I thank you for the move you have made. I will say that the Spirit of God has moved upon your heart. And I want to say thank you very much, sir.
This whole thing that, we welcome that, and we do appreciate that, right? Because we didn't expect what we get. So we're going to make it work, and we are thankful, and we are grateful for it. We thank the doc for that. The members of staff who have put everything together, the hard days, the hard nights, the paperwork, etc., etc. We do appreciate that. And we thank you from deep within our hearts.
I know my Prime Minister was not going to neglect me. I know he was not going to neglect me because I told him he had promised me and he should keep up his promise in that interview. I'm very grateful, you know. This has brought a lot of comfort to me, you know. I have little things to do like my bills, you know, some of the utility bills I have to pay and so on, you know. This has meant a lot to me, you know. I'm going to use it wisely. I'm happy, you know. It could have been better, you know, it could have been better, but there are times when you have to take it and run. You have to take what you get and run with it, you know. Okay, I'm grateful. Prime Minister, thank you. Thank you very much.
Some retirees recall the challenges they faced without any pension and lauded the initiative of the government.
Before retiring, I realized that I had a concern about my pension, and other workers was also complaining about their pension. So I went personally to the Prime Minister and I spoke to him face to face. And I also went to the media. And I had my concern and I viewed my concern concerning the pension. And I think it was a good move I made, because here I am today that the Prime Minister could have given us a check in advance towards our pension. And I'm very grateful for it, because the times were very hard from since 2017 when I retired, September 5th.
it has been a bit rough because without no pension, it's a difficult undertaking with people who have built their homes to live and having to pay mortgage. It was quite difficult. So I think this initiative by the government to come up with that solution at the moment, maybe a temporary solution, but I think it's very good. As Dr. Mitchell himself put it as the Prime Minister, it's more a moral thing rather than a legal thing. And I think he understands the pressure that people have been feeling over the years. So it's very good. It's undertaken from the government.
Prime Minister and Minister for Finance, Dr. the Right Honourable Keith Mitchell, described the occasion as historic, significant and extremely close to his heart. This proposed advance payment covers one category of retirees. Government acknowledges that other retirees will be considered in future phases of this initiative. Continuing the news, the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, ECCB, says effective November 1st, the Bank of Nova Scotia operations in Grenada, Anguilla, Dominica, St. Lucia, St. Kitts and Nevis, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines will cease, and the Republic Financial Holding Limited operations will commence in these territories. On September 6th, the ECCB, in consultation with the ECCB Monetary Council, approved the application for the transfer of the assets and liabilities of the Bank of Nova Scotia to the Republic Financial Holding Limited in the territories. Approval was also granted for the Republic Financial Holdings Limited to include Republic Bank, the Eastern Caribbean Limited, a St. Lucia-based subsidiary which will operate branches in Dominica, St. Kitts and Nevis, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Republic Bank Anguilla Limited, a subsidiary of Republic Bank EC Limited, and Republic Bank Grenada Limited, which will acquire the Bank of Nova Scotia Grenada operations. The ECCB says it is resolute about its mandate to protect the EC dollar and will continue to maintain high levels of foreign reserves while protecting the stability of the banking system. This is the National Report. More news after the break.
Did you join the public service on or after February 22nd, 1985 and have since retired? This might be important to you. Government understands that the NIS pension may be insufficient to take care of your needs. So, while it awaits the court's ruling on the matter of pension for public officers, government has taken action to protect your quality of life so that you can take care of your needs in the meantime. Persons who joined the public service on or after February 22nd, 1985 and serve continuously in an established position for a minimum 26 years and 8 months and retired at age 60 may be eligible to receive an advance payment, which when combined with NIS represents 70% of their last salary. For more information, call or visit the Pension Secretariat in the Department of Public Administration, Ministerial Complex, 440-3767.
Welcome back. The government of Grenada has begun construction work on the Simone Cultural Centre in St. Andrew, bringing with it added employment opportunities in the parish. Phase 1 of the project entailed demolition of the existing pavilion. The second phase of the project, which is currently underway, has a contracted cost of $200,000. It involves fencing the perimeter. The Government Information Service accompanied Honourable Kate Lewis, parliamentary representative for the constituency of St. Andrew North East, on a tour of the project on Wednesday. She says this is important not only for her constituents but the entire country. Major cultural activities were held at the pavilion before it was destroyed by Hurricane Ivan in 2004.
What we are seeing here is actually the second phase of the Simon Cultural Center project. Last year we did the first phase, which was the demolition of the old structure. So in the second phase, the fencing of the grounds for the cultural center. It is important that we fence before we start the construction because we need to protect the materials and everything else that will be there. So what you are seeing happening now is the preparation for the actual fencing. So you'll see some of the holes been dug and the poles been planted or so. But this is the second phase.
She says the project has already generated employment for a number of men in the community.
So far, The contract has already been signed and the work is taking place. The contractor is on scene with some of the workers here. We expect to have, throughout the whole project, over 20-30 persons involved on a rotation basis employed in the fencing phase of this project. The estimated cost of this project is almost $200,000. We had budgeted over $300,000, but based on the work that has to be done, it's over $200,000.
Kurt Rennie is the contractor for Phase 2 of the project. He spoke with GIS about the scope of work done so far.
The project has started this week, making it 3 weeks, right? And so far we are in the phase of casting the poles. We already dig the hole, dig the trench, and right now we're in the casting phase of the poles.
How many men do you have with you to execute this job?
At present we'll be working on rotation, We'll try to do it in phase. So in this phase, we have at least 8 men, and the next phase after, which is pulling up the fence, we'll hire a different set. So in all, it might come up to about 40 workers.
One resident also spoke to the importance of the reconstruction of the center and its prospect for further economic development.
I feel good about that. It's good to have the community center in Simon to build the place. Simon need to develop. You need to have more activities going on in Grenada.
Removal of the derelict vehicles is expected to take place well in advance of Phase 3 of the project. Finally, in the news, residents of Carriacou will soon enjoy potable water as the government partners with the Italian government and the Caribbean Community for Climate Change Center and NAWASA to implement a water project. The US $1.25 million project will see an expansion of the water supply to the rural areas of Carriacou. Minister for Carriacou and Petite Martinique Affairs, Honorable Kindra Matthew Stewart, is happy that following a poor rainy season this year, the island's dependence on rainwater will be a thing of the past.
We had very, very little rain thus far. As you're aware, most of the water that we use on a daily basis by the people of Carriacou is rainwater that has been harvested. And so once there is intermittent rain, it means therefore that there will be intermittent supply of water. With the changing weather pattern, with climate change, there's an urgent need for us to expand the existing water project on Carriacou to able to extend potable waters to major institutions, whether it's a police station, whether it's the hospitals, to health centers, to and also households throughout Carriacou and Petite Martinique. As a matter of fact, Petite Martinique is already covered. Petite Martinique now receives water through NAWASA at their homes. So it's an expansion project for Carriacou.
She says the project includes, but is not limited to, the installation of a desalination plant and distribution system and upgrade of the current water system.
It involves the installation of a second saltwater reverse osmosis desalination plant, the installation of a PV system, which is an electrical system to power the plant, the upgrade and intake system at the existing plant that we have at Seaview, and the installation of a new distribution system to the north and south of the island.
Pipes for the project were delivered in March of this year, and May 2020 has been given as the completion date for the water project.
At present, the procurement of the new plant and the PV system are ongoing. NAWASA is looking at options for site for the new plant in the Windward area. Further, NAWASA and of course the Caribbean Community Climate Change Center are finalizing a new implementation schedule for the remaining works. It is expected that an environmental and social assessment, impact assessment at the new location once identified will be done. The project also entails the procurement and installation of the new plant and of course the PV system, the upgrading and intake of the present plant to improve its reliability, the installation and distribution of lines to the existing plant to the hospital, and also throughout the south, from 6 roads to Hermitage, including Leste and Lauriston.
That story just ended the national report for today, Thursday, October 31st. Let's recap the top story. Grenada government provides relief for retired public servants. On behalf of the entire news team here at the Government Information Service, I am Rakisha St. Louis saying thank you for joining us. Until next time.
Sunday, November 3rd.
Santa Claus will be at the National Stadium as Megaforce Promotions presents Christmas in November.
The Mega Bingo.
Imagine you can win up to $100,000 in raw cash. There'll be 18 games at $5,000 each and one game at $10,000. Tickets are $60 for one, $100 for two.
This year, Christmas is coming early.
As Megaforce Promotions present Christmas in November, the Mega Bingo.
Are you ready to win?
If you want to stay married, divorce speed. Never drink and drive. After whiskey, driving is risky. A message from the Traffic Department of the Royal Grenada Police Force.
Stay up to date with all that's happening with the new national party, NNP. Send us a message via text or WhatsApp on 405-8683 with your name, email, and constituency. Stay in the know with NNP. Get updated.
Hope rides on the rays of the sun here. So too does the resilience of the people. But in the battle against climate change, will hope and resilience be enough when the lives of those who contribute the least feel the brunt of its effects?
For us here in the Caribbean, climate change and its devastating impacts are our new normal.
Hope is still the strongest currency in these parts. But a devaluation of life can come if the world sells the people short. With the realities of modern times, forever no longer has the same currency it had a generation ago.
Rolling on the way through my journey. I got a triple OG sitting right beside me. This old man, he played four. He playing knick-knack on my door. Raises a white noise, light up the world. Here we go, and I follow the sun, 'cause it's bright on the other side of my window.
In Grenada, like in many places in the Caribbean, there are continuing concerns about rising temperatures and the increasing frequency of storms.
In growing up as a young girl on the Carriacou, the changes, I always tell them the major change started with Hurricane Janet, September. September is a very terrible month for Grenada with hurricanes. Price of progress is always very high. And to me, the whole environmental problem in the Caribbean and in particular in Grenada come with the price of progress.
The country was devastated, almost complete devastation in some villages. First of all, every village in Dominica, every street, every cranny, every person in Dominica was impacted by the hurricane.
Now this is the big one as Culture Train String Band Group presents The Parent Train 2.0 from Friday, November 1st to Saturday, December 21st. And we kick things off on the Sister Isle. Friday, November 1st, the Brunswick Cemetery. November 9th, Bristol Shop in Leicester. November 15th, Modest Shop in Mount Royal. November 16th, Waynes Bar, Hillsborough. November 22nd, Brongo Shop, Harvey Vale. November 23rd, Goosey Shop, Winwood. November 27th, Sky Shop in Brunswick. November 29th, we head to Union Island to Hugh Malzat Square, Clifton. November 30th, we inside P.T. Martinic at Jakes Cross. December 4th, Pro Shop, Belvedere. On December 6th, we head to the mainland Grenada at Travelers Bar, Grand Mall. And on December 8th, Gold's Bar under the Bamboo, Ped Motor. December 11th, Marvin Shop in 6 Roads. And on Saturday, December 21st, it's the grand finale round the island. And all events start from 7 p.m. Parent Train 2.0 brought to you by Grenada Tourism Authority, Government of Grenada, Grenada Distillers Limited, Digicel, WeiVybz FM, Sister Isle Radio, Amazing Colors, Ariser Credit Union, and Booms Construction.
The Parent Train, and they'll be coming in by you.
It's coming as the Ministry of Youth, Development, Sports, Culture and the Arts brings to you National Youth Week 2019, and it's one full week of activities, vibes and action as the nation turns their attention on the nation's youth. And it's from Saturday, October 19th till Saturday, November 2nd under the theme Embracing Opportunities, Sowing Higher. October 19th and 20th, National Community Service Weekend, Island-wide. October 26th, Health Walk and Ministers Address. October 28th, Youth Vibe. October 29th, St. John's Youth Parliament. October 30th, Job Fair and Career Day. October 31st, Fun Nights. November 1st, Discovering Talents and Expo. November 2nd, it's National Youth Awards. Sunday, November 3rd, Ecumenical Service and Peace Concert. So urging everyone to be a part of Youth Week 2019, October 19th to November 2nd.
Shall not prevail, and no man that rise against that war they shall never win. 'Cause I will conquer, oh I will conquer, yes I will conquer them. Come on, let's conquer, oh I will conquer, rise up and conquer them. Tell them no retreat, no surrender. I shall fight till the end of days. I was born as a Makai warrior, and the Almighty God my blade. Fire burn all Satan carrier. Father loose all shackles and chain.
Good morning to all our listening audiences, listening to us here at HARDTALK, Grenada, Carriacou, and PT Martinique. And of course, good morning to everyone listening to us in the diaspora. A special good morning to all our people listening on 97.5 City Sound FM, 89.5 CRFM, 92.9 Sister Isle Radio, that's coming from Hillsborough, Carriacou, and of course the big bad We Noise Radio, 94.9 in Brooklyn, New York. It is a beautiful, beautiful Friday morning here on the Spice Isle, and boy do we have a lot to talk about today. It's usually our week in review, and that's where we touch on all of the issues, all of the things that would have happened throughout the week. So keep in mind that our lines remain open from the very start. So you can contact us, of course, on 440-7377. That's for calls locally. And, of course, you can WhatsApp us at that number. And our overseas number would be 347-329-3101. So give us a call. Let us know what's going on your little side of the island. And, of course, contribute to the conversation that we are about to have. But before we get into all of the hard facts and the details, there's a few housekeeping matters that we have to attend to. So the St. David's constituency office, they'll be having a fundraiser. It's a luncheon that starts at 11:30. So they have a lot of good food. I just spoke to them. They have stew pork and stew turkey and rice and peas and cuckoo and callaloo and a lot of good stuff. So you want to place your orders. I believe that they are doing a bit of delivering as well. So you want to just clarify with them. Their number is 435-4978. So you can give them a call and see exactly what's going on with them and what they have to offer. And, of course, the St. Andrew Southeast Parliamentary Elections Office, they're having a fundraiser, and that's in Grand Bra. It's a Lime, a whole day thing, I believe, and that's happening today on the 1st. So you definitely do want to pay attention to that. Go out and support the constituency. You know, because any money that goes to the constituency office is used within the constituency, right? So you definitely want to support that. And the St. Andrews Northeast Constituency Office, they're also having an all-day event fundraiser. They start off with a breakfast, and that starts at 6 o'clock. There'll be food all day long, things like oil dung and Manish waters and all the good stuff. So you want to pass through food for everybody at affordable prices. And they want us to let you know that all of the food that is sold, all of the proceeds are going to help with the Christmas tree lighting ceremonies that they have. So every year they'll have some Christmas tree lighting ceremonies throughout the constituency where they give treats to the children, ensure that they have a good time, some entertainment and so on. So you definitely want to take advantage of that. And I believe that the youth, the Ministry of Youth, they're also having continuation of their Youth Week. And today I believe they're having an entertainment segment, and that is in St. Andrew, I believe. But I'll definitely get some more information on that for you and provide you with more of the details. So, Sheldon, we have a lot to talk about today. A lot of things to talk about today.
So up, Malin, realize I hear. Yeah. I'm here. Well, find out very quiet today. Yeah, sometimes you have to stay quiet, you know.
Yep.
Good morning, Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. Yes, indeed. And happy All Saints. Yeah, Ms. Duncan, are you going to be taking part tonight? Are you going to remember those dearly departed by lighting your candles later on?
Yes, I have a few people that are very, very dear to me that have passed. And, of course, in remembrance of them, I'll be lighting a candle or two.
Yeah, I'm thinking of lighting my mom's grave out there in Springs, and my grandmother's and my great-grandmother's and all the others in Springs. I may or may not. I'm trying to make it later, but you know it goes sometimes.
Yes, of course.
If I can't make it on All Saints, I make it on All Souls.
Well, yeah.
Sometimes I can't make it on the day. You make it on the following day.
You make it on the following
Can't make
day.
it to light my grandmom's zone up there in Carriacou.
Oh no.
Yeah,
But you can
I
call,
know where it
call
is now.
somebody and see if they can do it on your behalf.
Stanal, handle for me. Stanal, listening. You know what to do. Stanal, yeah, go and light Mimi grave for me, please. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Put a couple candles. That is from she grandson. Put it on Mimi grave for me. Thank you very much. All right. Yeah, so also, I see that as you're giving the announcements, I see the Spice Mask Corporation. They're not waiting until Carnival has started to try and do what they have to do. Already in the preparation stages. I know they had a meeting or having a meeting with the mass bands because, you know, certain things happen with the mass bands this year. They decide they can't allow that to happen again. So they've been having meetings and interactions with the mass bands and so to come to an understanding of, look, this is what we need to do, that is what we need to do. Also, they now have invitations for proposals for corporate sponsorship. So they're looking for the sponsorship for Carnival. And we in November, folks, but they're looking for the sponsorship for Carnival. And they're looking for businesses, companies, organizations, or even persons. You as an individual, you might want to sponsor a particular event. So they're looking for sponsors for Carnival City, Children's Carnival Frolic, National Panorama, the Marsh Gras, the overall Carnival sponsor. So you might have like whatever Spice Mass, the National Queen Show, Soca Groovy Monarch, the Marsh Gras, Traditional Mass Festival, and the Junior Calypso semifinals. So they're looking for sponsors for all of that. So these events are an excellent opportunity for companies, organizations, persons to promote their brands, products, services, and activities through a corporate sponsorship collaboration with Spice Mass Corporation. So those of you that interested, check Mr. Kelvin Jacob down at Spice Mass Corporation.
Yeah, I'm glad that they started early. That shows organization.
Yeah.
You know, that's wonderful.
Yes, indeed. And Ms. Duncan, as we on culture and Spice Mass and that as well, we know one of the topical issues that came up this week has been the Annandale Falls. Yeah, that's one of the issues that came up this week. Yeah, people saying all sorts of things about the Annandale Falls.
Sheldon, there are some things that I really don't like to speak on because I may say the wrong thing. But let me just say this.
Sometimes the wrong thing is the right thing.
Sometimes the wrong thing is the right thing. But let me just say this. Before we run, and I feel like a broken record when I say this. We always need to read to understand. Sometimes we just read to respond. They did not say that they were privatizing the Annandale Fall. They said they were commercializing it.
And the minister made a specific point of pointing that out when she was talking.
Exactly. and for those of them who don't understand that commercializing just means that they have leased it or given the responsibility of its maintenance to a company. And from what I understand, it's a Grenadian. It's one of our own. So it's not somebody that has come in and invested in Annandale Falls or it's now an investment project. That's not what it is.
It's not somebody from Adubi.
Yes, it's not that.
Yeah.
It's simply a Grenadian company that is investing in the development and the maintenance. Because you have to admit, it is one of our biggest tourism features or tourist features within Grenada. Can you imagine a tourist coming to Annandale Fall and it's overgrown with bush? There's garbage everywhere because we have to admit that as Grenadians, we are not very patriotic in that sense. We are not going to take on our own and go and clean out our historical sites. Nobody in taking a cutlass and go and clear the bush and maintain the flowers and ensure that the place is swept and clean and that there's no buildup of garbage and dust.
Let me ask you a question. Right now, as it is right now, if you're going down to Annandale Falls, do you have free access? Can you just walk down to the falls or do you have to pay a fee to go down to the Annandale Falls as it is right now?
Just walk.
No. Isn't there a booth there with somebody that's collecting?
Supposed to be collecting.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that people are giving the impression that as it is right now, anybody you just go about your business and so on. Nobody ain't paying anything. But as far as I know, there's a booth there with individuals that do collect a fee to go, so it's not necessarily free.
Just free. It should
down.
not be.
Yeah.
Not that it's not. It should not
because
be.
It has to be maintained.
It has to be maintained. And where is the money going to come from? The same as Granatang Lake. There's a booth there for you to pay.
Some people don't bother.
Some people don't bother. They just drive in. But then Granatang still has to be maintained, right? So we have to be very careful. It's either we want betterment of our country and we must know that betterment comes at a cost, or we want the country to just be run down so everybody does whatever they want to do and complain and complain and complain and nothing good happens in the country. So we have to decide. We cannot have our cake and eat it. It's not possible. We have to decide. It's either we want to invest in the betterment of our country and know that it comes at a cost, or we just want to sit and complain, do nothing, and expect the government to find money from that magical pot that is at the end of a rainbow and maintain the country.
No, I've been to Dominica and I've been to some of the tourist sites over there, and not government run. You're talking about things like some of the hot springs and that sort of thing. And when you see how well maintained those are, and it's a public-private partnership, yes, the government might have a share in it, but it is maintained by a private company and they have a lease on the property and that sort of thing, and it's well maintained. And I think that's the same thing that you're attempting to do here in Grenada. Yeah. Even in Jamaica, in the Jamaica model, a lot of the different sites and so are public-private partnerships, or they are statutory bodies and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So it is not a case that Annandale is being given away to anybody.
As they're making it sound.
It's not being taken. Nobody ain't take Annandale and give it to somebody and the person go in and say, well, let me leave Grenada with Annandale. So they put it on a boat and they go on and your children can't see Annandale again. It is there. It is just what is being done now is giving an opportunity to Grenadians.
Yeah.
Not somebody from Abu Dhabi, but somebody from right here in Grenada, organizations from right here in Grenada, to contribute to the development of a tourist site.
Yeah.
So whether it's to improve the flora and fauna around, improve the access to the facility and so, and the general aesthetics of the facility, but to improve the standard. The people that work there, the people that earn a living there, how do you engage them to improve their ability to earn a dollar?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not always the best thing for government to deal with that. We've seen that happen
But
throughout
it's
the
true.
Caribbean. Governments
It is
have been
true.
moving out of managing facilities.
Well, you see, what we don't understand as well is that when we say, and I think this is where the big misunderstanding comes, when we say government must manage, it doesn't mean 15 representatives must be responsible for. Because remember, it's a system. It is a group of people, government being administrators, parliamentarians being administrators, and public servants being implementers. So if we don't have proper implementation strategies within our public service, then these things will fail. And that is what we have seen happening from time to time. There's good policies, strong policies, but there's poor implementation. And that is why some of these things fail. So we have to definitely be careful in what we're asking for. It's either we want the development, we understand that it's going to come at a cost, we understand that measures must be taken for these things to happen. And you're not always going to agree with everything that happens. You are not supposed to always agree with everything that the government does. But at the same time, you must see the benefit in it. You can't agree all of the time, but you must see the benefit. And I see the benefit because I don't want to go to Annandale Falls one day. And there's so many schools that go there as field trips and all of these things. You see how beautiful that place is. How much flowers and the concrete, you walk and the spring, the water running down is nice and clean. You can drink it straight from its channel, and it's a lovely place.
Let's look at the worst case scenario here. As it is right now, if you go to the Annandale Falls and something happens to you, the liability is on you.
Of course.
The people of Grenada to pay.
Of course.
Yeah. So if it's one of a local and they get injured, the liability rests on the government and people of Grenada. If it's a tourist that comes here, and some of them file $1 million class action lawsuits and these sort of things, something happens, God forbid, the liability is on you, the Grenadian people.
Yeah.
In the case where it has been commercialized and a company takes over the operations and the management and so on, they are now liable for anything that happens there.
Absolutely.
So it's really that simple. Because I see some people trying to make an issue out of that one this week.
I don't understand.
That's one of the things this week I see people trying to make a big issue out of.
I'm becoming fast annoyed at how many non-trivial issues we try to make into something trivial. Because this is basic checks and balances. basic checks and balances. You want betterment for your country. You want the Annandale Fall to be something that remains a natural beauty. It must come as a cost. Where are we going to get the monies to maintain it? And then apart from that, we're always talking about taxpayers' dollars. Before government decide they want to spend a little bit of money on something, the taxpayers' dollars becomes the biggest conversation. In this case, it means that the place will be maintained. The place will be commercialized. Betterment, it will be maintained, and it doesn't come at a cost to taxpayers. I don't understand why this is even an issue or a topic for discussion. Why do we have to clarify things that are non-trivial? I don't understand.
Well, see, the thing is that some people, because they have to grasp onto something, they grasp onto these issues and they try to make it into a bigger issue than it is. But once it's explained and people understand.
Yeah.
And a next major issue that came up this week, the New National Party, we had our successful convention.
Absolutely.
Very successful convention. Just a few changes on the executive.
Only a few.
We now have a new chairman of our party, the Honorable Anthony Boson is our new chairperson of the party, and our deputy chair remains the same.
Yes.
Our political leader remains the same,
and
the position was vacant, and unanimously, unlike
unanimous decision.
Unlike what some people might have to go through this week. But anyway, on our business, right? Our deputy chair, our deputy political leader, is once again the Honorable Gregory Bowen. He has held that position in the past before. And he's returned to that substantive position of the deputy political leader. Prime Minister made a special statement in relation to Honorable Elvin Nimrod, thanking him for his time that he has spent as deputy political leader of the party. And remember, to tell you how successful Honorable Elvin Nimrod was as deputy political leader of the party, remember, with him as deputy political leader and Dr. Mitchell as leader, the party was able to secure 2 serious victories at the polls.
Yes.
15-0 with him as deputy. And Prime Minister has thanked Honorable Elvin Nimrod for his time that he has spent. And for the people of Carriacou for supporting him and sending him and giving him the time for national service.
Yes.
And we continue to thank him. We love our brother Elvin.
Of course.
And we continue to thank. We know he's not that well these days.
Yes, but
and our prayers are with him.
He can retire now knowing that he has made a substantive contribution to the development of his country.
Yes.
Yes. He can rest comfortably now, knowing that he has done that. And in our convention as well, we got a new treasurer, which is Mr. Carlton Frederick, Mr. Bolase.
Who replaced Mr. Anthony Boson, Honorable Anthony Boson, as he's now the chair.
Mr. Bolase, he don't understand how that man could leave money and go to chairmanship. But, sometimes you have to move on to make different contributions in society. So he is now our chairman, our chairman, and Carlton Frederick being our new treasurer. So we have had...
And our general secretary remains the same.
Of
Honorable,
course.
Mr. Roland Bola, and then our deputy chair, Honorable Peter David. And our labor relations officer, Senator the Honorable Winston Garraway.
Yes.
Our welfare officer, Miss Edith MacDonald. So, and then we have our floor members and so on. So we had a pretty successful convention. But the same, instead of speaking about that, the fact that we had a nice, peaceful convention with all of this positivity, some people decided to focus on one person and their presentation.
And all of the good messages. There were a lot of other good messages that came out of that convention as well, but they choose not to speak on that. They decided to attack a private individual, and they didn't attack the company. They attacked the young lady, and that is what was most disturbing about that whole situation. And I mean, it I want to choose my words right, Tisha. I do. I always have to be careful because
be very selective of the language.
There are things that are coming in my head that I want to say, but I can't.
It's radio. You can't say it yet.
I can't say it.
It's radio.
But as a woman, I feel, I don't want to say her pain, but I can understand how she probably feels right now, because she is placed in a position, and we as women are emotional beings. And she was placed in a situation where she felt that she was doing her job, providing information, public information to citizens of the state of Grenada, which in all right she should do. And then to be attacked like that, with no basis, with no truth, I mean, I could understand how she might feel. You know, as a woman, thriving to...
But anybody, even a man,
Yes.
anybody. And as you said, women are more emotional beings,
Yes.
so it affects them more. But anybody, even a man, you know, you're attacked and you're innocent of what you're being accused of. In your mind, you were doing what was best.
Yes.
And here it is that you're just being... for doing your job, you know.
For
Because
doing
what
your
you're doing is in the best interests of everyone. And yesterday we played the presentation. Was there anything there that she said that was wrong?
No.
And we're gonna play another presentation
Yes,
today.
I was just going to ask you about that. She did another consultation. I believe it was a government consultation, St. George's in GBSS. I attended that consultation because I make it my business to attend consultations that are matters of state. Right? When the government bring in information to you, you have to go and listen, right? Because you can't just sit and say you're in here and the information is being brought to you and you don't attend. So I did attend that consultation, and listening to her consultation, her presentation there, and her presentation at our convention, I do not see the difference. I don't see what the riot is about. And I took time to speak with her. She's my friend. So I took some time to speak with her. And, I mean, just to check in on her, to make sure she's okay. Because, I mean, it's never an easy thing being the topic of discussion in a whole country. You know,
Yeah,
it's
tell
never
me
an easy
about it.
thing.
Yeah.
It's never
I could tell you
thing.
about that. Yeah.
So I had to check in on her. I had to make sure that she is okay. But let me just let the public know that she is fine. She is unscathed. Her mind is at rest simply because she knows that she has done nothing wrong. She's doing her job, she has done her job, and she did her job well. You know? And it goes back to the research that I would have done recently. When this initially became a conversation, the NIS had an initial consultation. And would you know, Sheldon, that in that consultation, the first ever consultation that was held by the NIS, guess who was invited? The leaders of all political parties, save and except the governing or ruling party. So the persons that are out there making
I ain't like that
noises.
too. How come I wasn't invited?
Because, I mean, the people out there making the noises and talking about the impropriety of it and all of that nonsense, they fail to realize that they had the first ever consultation. And not only did they have the first ever consultation, they were the first to be extended that olive branch to have the NIS speak on any of their forums. But they're not going to tell you that. So the invitation was given to the NDC, to what are the other parties? I don't even know. They're not very significant. But what I'm saying is they all were there. They all were given that opportunity to have the NIS come and explain to the people of Grenada, because regardless of if I am an NDC, a NNP, a GULP, whatever it is, regardless of that, first and foremost, I am a Grenadian citizen. I am part of the state of Grenada, and that is public information. They are providing public information. So she had extended that olive branch to them and had advised that if they are having any forums, or not her directly, but, you know, the NIS, you know, to come and speak. We accepted because we saw the benefit in informing our people. Right? We have a caller on the line.
Let's go to the phone line.
Yes, let's take the call. Good morning, caller.
Yes, I'm here for the program.
Hi, yes.
You're live.
Yes, I joined the program late, right? I can't believe that lady who did such a brilliant presentation on the NIS is being chastised.
Mm-hmm.
It is regrettable. And I'm listening and I'm saying to myself, I have to call. Because that presentation on Sunday was so powerful. And the thing about it is, she has not, well, you know, she has appeared in other settings. So not only at the NMP convention, you know, she has appeared at other public settings to enlighten the populace on this very important matter. And I'm quite sure, for example, if the NDC were to invite her at their upcoming convention, she will be there on behalf of the NIS to explain just the same. So I really don't understand why she's being humiliated. This lady did a fantastic presentation. I mean, I myself, a number of issues she spoke about, I was enlightened. And I even commented on the NMP's live convention that this was so powerful. And I just want to encourage the NIS to do more of it so that people are brought up to speed on the importance of the NIS, because literally there's a lot of ignorance around the place concerning the scheme. So I welcome this, and I look forward to many more sessions. And like I say, I am absolutely sure she will appear at the NDC convention to speak the very same issue if she's invited to do so. Thanks again, and all the best.
Thank you, caller. But you know one thing I must say, caller? She will not be invited. And she will not speak at the NDC convention. You know why that will not happen? Because it's the same reason why everybody is so riled up about her speech at the NN. It's not that she spoke any untruths, you know. What happened is that she spoke too many truths, too many facts. And because of that, they cannot and they will not accept that olive branch, because then it now contradicts all of the mistruths that they've been telling people about the NNP owing the NIS and about the NIS giving them a haircut and all of that nonsense. We have another caller on the line. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Ms. Duncan. Good morning, Brother Sheldon.
Good morning.
Of everything.
Good.
Brother Sheldon, I feel so happy concerning last Sunday at Magnan College. And then we had the NNP held a successful convention. In the convention, you could have feel the peace, you could have feel that love and that unity among members. And I want to say everyone that elected as members on the national executive, they have proven themselves as members and that work, and they work to bring development and prosperity to the Grenada and Carriacou people. And with a leader, as a Mitchell, we know that our country is on the right path, and the people of Grenada look out for more development and prosperity. And we, the Grenada people, let us open our eye and let us look and see that the party that really cares and love about them. Because when you look at NNP party is the party that brings information and bring the true information to the Grenadian people. Because I feel so happy when this lady came, and because I was in GBSS too, and the information, a lot of things that we did not know, and we got to know that at GBSS. And knowledge is power. And I can see how someone will try to deprive someone who don't know much from getting to know more. Right? And the party that care about people and want people to know the truth is NMP people. And if you criticize a young lady from coming out to inform the Grenadian people about the truth, and you criticize that lady for letting the Grenadian people know the truth, I see that them people don't care, and NDC don't care, and they all want to keep the people in ignorance and lack of knowledge. You see, for lack of knowledge, my people perish. Well, NMP, the party, will encourage people and give them knowledge of the truth and let them know exactly what is going on in our country, our beloved country. To Brother Sheldon, Ms. Duncan, you all have one for the God bless you all.
Thank you.
All right, you too.
And Ms. Duncan, one thing I keep wondering, because the thing is this, who are the constituents of the NIS, the National Insurance Scheme? Who are the constituents?
Everybody.
All of the people that pay and benefit, because some people that don't pay but benefit, because they are the children of the people that are benefiting from the NIS and so on. So everyone at some level benefits from the National Insurance Scheme.
Yeah.
Now, is it wrong of the public relations officer of the scheme to go and speak to a group of people who are paying, a captive audience of people who are paying into the NIS? I pay into the NIS. You pay into the NIS. Mr. Technical Man, you pay into the NIS. All of us, down to the Prime Minister of the country, pays NIS. I wonder if the Governor General is exempt. I'm not sure. But I know up to the Prime Minister, at least, of the state of Grenada, every parliamentarian pays national insurance scheme every month. They send their payments over there. I'm talking for experience, I know. Yeah. Everyone pays. So why is it wrong for the NIS to speak to them, to say this is why we are attempting to do what we are attempting to do. This is what the money is being used for. This is how the scheme operates and so on. What is wrong with that?
And you see, the thing is, they're talking about her being on the NNP platform and speaking, and they fail to realize the young lady didn't come there in a green jersey that says, keep moving. She didn't have an ounce of green on her. The young lady arrived at the time she was expected to speak and left immediately after. And that is what is important to note. She didn't come as a member of the New National Party to speak on matters of NIS. She came as a representative from the National Insurance Scheme to inform the Grenadian public who happened to just be gathered at an NNP convention to speak on matters of public knowledge that should concern them. It's the same that she has done at churches. There have been pastors that have invited the NIS to speak at their churches. Multiple community groups have invited them to speak at their forums. What is the big deal? The the NDC must take note from that and now invite her to speak on their forum, to speak to their members about what's happening with NIS.
What would be wrong about empowering the delegates and observers and well-wishers of the National Democratic Congress this weekend? I'm afraid to say there's something this weekend. What would be wrong with the NIS going there and educating them? Or do they prefer to remain uneducated on the issues? Because when they make statements like, don't touch me money, I put in NIS, you know that comes from an uneducated position in relation to how the NIS operates. Yeah. You know that for a fact. So educate your membership. Don't try to keep them uneducated on issues.
Of course.
But we'll play this thing in a little while.
You know what I learned from that session? Just from that session, you know what I learned? I learned that there was a gentleman, right? There was a gentleman who, actually he's currently alive, a contributor to the NIS, right? This gentleman, over his lifetime of paying NIS, has contributed around the figures of $40-something thousand. To date, he still receives monies from the NIS in the figure of $240-something thousand. Now that 200 and something overall, that 200 and something thousand is monies that he did not put into the NIS, but he is receiving it.
Yeah.
You understand? And these are the things that people need to know. So when they talk and make ignorant statements about, leave my money, let me put my money where I want to put it, give me my 1% and I'll put it where, gladly, give them their 1%. And then at the end of the 3 years that the 1% will be consumed or less, because they would have access to all of the money all at once. And we know that is never a good thing. It's never a good thing to give people an access to a lump sum of money all at once. So when you give them access to all of their money all at once, you know what's going to happen? They will have to turn to the same government for assistance to maintain themselves for the rest of their lives. How can a government who is responsible do something like that? We will not. So that is why the NIS is there. It's like a management scheme for your money, for your pension. So at the end of the month, when you have retired and you are no longer working, at least you know you can buy bread and sugar and milk and, the basic necessities to survive. And that is what it is all about. They ain't thieving your money.
Yes, indeed, folks. And it's now 3 minutes after 11. I think there's a good time for us. Because yesterday, we played the presentation. We're doing this because we want you to understand. And this is not the only thing we played on Hard Talk today. Just giving you all a little time to group and get together. Because why are some people so afraid of what we play on Hard Talk?
I don't know.
Why are you so afraid of how I obtain information and what I play on Hard Talk? I mean, all kind of security measures going in place. Anyhow, NIS, we're going to play a presentation here. Ms. Duncan spoke to it a short while ago. This was at the GBSS. It was on the 19th of September at the GBSS. This is a presentation that was made by Miss Lisa Douglas. Yesterday, you heard the presentation that was made at the convention of the new National Party. And now you're going to hear the presentation that was made just prior in September at, it was a constituency function. What was it? A governmental function?
I believe the government, because they did send us some information as it relates to
but it was all of the people in the south.
Yes,
it was
a zonal thing, I believe.
Yeah.
And they were bringing
and
together...
not a political something at all.
No, it was actually government. And they had a number of speakers.
And you had some people there that are totally not members, supporters.
Oh, of course. Of course, I saw them. They're not supporters of the NNP, but I saw them. They were sitting in front taking notes and listening to what... And you see, that's the funny thing about it.
And nothing is wrong with that.
They will go to the consultations, they will listen to what they have to say, and they will advise you not to go because you must remain ignorant to the things that are happening in the country. And that is very sad.
So let's play Miss Douglas now. And later on, I can guarantee you that we have something else to play. But we're going to play Miss Douglas right now. All right? Nice.
At this time, we're going to invite to the podium Lisa Douglas. She is the Public Relations Officer at the National Insurance Scheme. And we know within the last few months there has been much dialogue about some new changes that is to come at the NIS. So she's here now to speak to us on that and answer your questions.
Thank you very much. Good night to everybody. I must say good night to our Prime Minister, our Ministers of Government, the President of the Senate, my Director who is here, and all of you, I'm sure, who are contributors, pensioners, beneficiaries in one way or another of the NIS, right? Okay, so tonight we will be talking about the NIS Improvement and Sustainability Plan. And I will try to get through what we have outlined here. We'll look briefly at our performance over the years, key findings, some regional comparisons, what do we need to do going forward, and then we would conclude. Now, on April 4th, 1983, the NIS started, and we commenced providing short-term benefits, sickness, maternity, funeral, long-term benefits, age, invalidity, and survivors. And later on, in 1998, employment injury benefit was introduced, and it was funded by an additional 1% in the contribution rate. So in 1983, employees contributed 4%, employers contributed 4%, giving us a total of 8%. And when employment injury came in, employers pay an additional 1% so we could enjoy that benefit. So this year we celebrated 36 years. Now let's just look a little bit briefly on the governance of the NIS. How is the NIS governed? I know sometimes persons would say, you know what, I'm paying my NIS every month, but I don't have a say in what happens. But letting you know tonight that we all have a say. So the board is tripartite, meaning the three main stakeholders are represented on the National Insurance Board. So we have 2 members representing government, 2 representing employers, and 2 representing employees. And from 1983 to now, we have been tripartite both in law and in practice. There are some countries where even though on their law books it's supposed to be tripartite, the government would just choose all the representatives. But in Grenada, it has never happened, and I hope it will never happen. So the Trade Union Council would always choose its 2 representatives. The Employers Federation has always chosen its 2 representatives, and then the 2 from government, and the 7th person is the director of the national insurance. So when it comes to good governance, we have done well in that area. Our investment committee, a committee of the board, is also tripartite, and the regulations also makes provision for an appeals tribunal. So if you're not satisfied with a decision of the director, you can appeal independently. You don't have to pay for it. You simply come into the office, fill out your form, and you will have a hearing before an independent appeals tribunal. And they are up functioning. So what have we done from 1983 to now? How has the NIS contributed to Grenada? Now, I remember last December, the governor of the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank went on record stating that NIS Grenada is one of the most efficiently run social security organizations in the region. And I think that is something that is noteworthy and we should be proud of. So from 1983 to December 2017, the NIS has paid $707 million in benefits to contributors. That's how we have served the public. So we have paid short-term benefits, $118 million, long-term benefits, that's where our pensions fall, $571 million, employment injury benefits, 11.4, and of course, in order to pay, we must collect. The money must come from somewhere. So we have collected $1.2 billion in contribution income. Now, the way the NIS works, you pay contributions, and the additional funds, the excess funds that we don't use to pay benefits immediately, are invested to keep the fund going, right? So when it comes to investment income, we have earned $606 million in investment income during that same period. So you see that we are working. So that gives us a total income of $1.8 billion. And after 2004, in September 2004 rather, I'm sure maybe all of us here would have experienced what Hurricane Ivan did to our beautiful island. We experienced the devastation, the unemployment, because people were displaced from their jobs. A lot of our buildings were destroyed and a lot of persons were unemployed. And although unemployment is not a benefit that is funded, is not a benefit that is provided by NIS Grenada. So the contribution rate doesn't cover for a benefit called unemployment. But the NIS is also socially responsible, and the National Insurance Board showed its social responsibility by paying unemployment benefits to the tune of $6.37 million to persons who were displaced after Hurricane Ivan. So I'm sure there are even persons in here who could attest that they were very happy to receive that benefit. And the NIS reserves, the reserves is like your money in your bank, right? The NIS reserves have grown from $4.1 million in 1983 to $967 million at the end of 2017. So the reserves is on a good footing currently. Investment income for the last 10 years, we have earned an average of $32 million annually. Yeah, I told you the governor said we were efficient, right? So we're not just collecting the money and putting it aside. Yes, we're prudently investing. So let's just go back and watch the figure again. Yes, that's what we on average earn in investment income. But as with everything else, as with every business, as with your personal life and in every area of life, it's always important to do a review. It's always important to take a step back to see where you are and where you need to go. And NIS is no different. Now, the way NIS works, it's based on a couple of concepts. One of those concepts is called solidarity. Because believe it or not, the 9% that you contribute is not enough to pay you a pension for the rest of your life. Even if you might say, I'm not getting enough, it's not enough to pay you a pension for life. In fact, it's not enough to pay you short-term benefits plus a pension. All right? So it means somebody, and we all have to work together to pay for each other. So Social Security is based on the concept of solidarity. So there is one fund called the National Insurance Fund. And when we all contribute, the monies go into that one fund, and we all benefit from it. It is also based on the concept of intergenerational transfers. So your 9% is not enough to pay your pension for life. So Social Security says, okay, I'm charging you 9%, but you know what? Somebody has to pay for it, so I'm going to make your children pay for it. Yeah? So each generation pays the pension of the one who went on before. So let me see all our pensioners here tonight. All our pensioners? Right. So those of us who are working, we are paying for them to get a pension now. All right? And because of that, look at what is happening here. So it means if paying an NIS pension is based on intergenerational transfers, you want to have a lot of persons contributing so you could get your pension. So look at what has happened over the years. In 1995, we had 18.4 persons contributing for this handsome gentleman here. Look at how that has gone down in 2018. In 2018, it was at 5.4. So think about it. Here, 18 persons were contributing. Now, less persons are contributing. Yeah, so he's still there. He's living longer, but he has less persons paying so he could get his pension. So we would start talking about sustainability now. So there are factors that would affect how sustainable, whether or not the NIS would continue for years to come. And let's look at them. Births and deaths, right? Persons are living longer. Whether or not you want to say watch the death news. That is not a scientific approach because a name could be repeated over and over. So you can't say watch the death news. That's not a good way to gauge it. You have to actually look at births and deaths to determine whether or not people are living longer. And according to our records, persons are living longer. But women are having less and less children. So because it's based on look at how much children your great-grandparents had, your grandparents, your parents. Look at how much you have. And you would see that women are having less children. So this is how the equation looks. The pensioners are living longer, but we have less contributors coming in to pay their pension. We also have the factor of number of workers. Okay? So the more persons we have working, yeah, it means that, so unemployment plays a factor. So if unemployment is high, it means we have less persons contributing. So we always have to make sure we look at that. Migration is also a factor because who migrates? People who are young, people who are contributing. So if our students continue to go and not come back, it means they're in a country contributing to the development of that country and not here, where they could be paying for somebody to get their pension. Productivity, and Mr. Pear mentioned it. Sometimes we don't think about productivity, but the more productive you are, the more your employer could expand, the more the business does well, even in government, well, especially in government. So when you're on your desk doing nothing, it's costing the country money. And also, it affects, in turn, the NIS, all right? So we have to remain productive because it affects all of us. So all of these factors affects the sustainability of the NIS because it means less money is coming in so the pensioners could continue getting the benefits. So look at what has happened with the growth in income and growth in expenditure over the years. So the green line, even if you can't see the figures, just look at the line. The green line here, we see this growth in our income. So we see that our income has grown by 21.2% over the period, 21.2%. Look at the growth in our expenditure, 122.6%. Just from that alone, you know persons living longer because that is where our pensions are paid. That's where our benefits are paid. So our benefit payout is growing at a much, much, much faster rate than we are collecting. Now, every 3 years, we are mandated by the national insurance laws to carry out an actuarial review. The purpose of the review is to ensure that the benefits that we're offering are relevant, meaning that it's meeting your needs as workers, and also to ensure that the National Insurance Fund remains sustainable. The actuary would do a report, submit it to the government, And containing in that report are usually recommendations for the sustainability and for improvements. Now, the actuary made some key findings after the 10th actuarial review. And the actuary said, starting in 2016, annual contributions will be insufficient to meet total expenditure. So the contributions that we're collecting would not be enough to pay out the benefits and other expenditures. So at that point, investment income must be used to cover the shortfall. And I'm sure if any of you here looked and are paying attention, and you should because it's your business, what's happening with the NIS, you would realize that in 2016 it happened. Since 2016, on a monthly basis, the NIS pays out more in benefits than it's collecting in contributions. And just think about it for a moment. If you had a shop, right? Prices raise, things go up, and you decide, you know what, I love my customers too much. Although this price was $9, now it's $12. I'm not going to increase my price. What would happen to the business? All right, so let's continue. So the actuary said that in 2016 this would happen, and it did happen, and it continues to happen. And the actuary said that changes are necessary, and if nothing is done, come 2022, total income in this case, so total income would be contribution income plus investment income, would not be able to cover expenditure. And in this case, what would we have to do? Dip into the reserves. So remember I said we have reserves right now, but the actuary saying once you start spending more on a monthly basis than you're collecting, eventually you have to go into the bank. And what you have in reserves would not last forever if you still decide, let me do nothing. And by 2035, if we decide still we're not doing anything, make all the excuses in the world why we should not do nothing, the reserves would drop to zero, and the contribution rate would automatically have to go to 22.5%. So no consultation or discussion would be necessary. Just to keep afloat, the contribution rate would have to be 22.5%. And this is just a snapshot of our current experience. These are 4 of our pensioners. This one here, it shows you for pensioner A, the pension received over $196,000. Look how much that person contributed during their working life. Just over $45,000. So this one received over 4 times as much, right? This one here is deceased. This one, those 3 down here are still alive. This one has already received 7 times as much as they contributed. And there might be people that's still saying, well, it's kind of low, but look how much they paid compared to what they actually contributed. So we see where the intergenerational transfers comes in. And this is another snapshot of our pensioners in 2018. So you could see the age distribution. You see that 100, we have over 13 persons who are over 100 plus. 95 to 99, we have over 34 persons. 90 to 94, 132. Look, 70 to 74. And remember, I said the 9% is not enough to pay you a pension for life. In fact, it's only enough to pay you a pension for 3 years. So by the time you reach age 63, so some people in this group here and everybody else have already received what they paid. So what they're getting is what you and I are contributing today. So we see, ladies and gentlemen, that the sustainability of the NIS is affected. And I know one of the things people are quick to say, we already know is not management, because we see how efficient we are working in terms of investment. One of the other excuses persons normally make is that government taking all NIS money, which is the furthest thing from the truth. So I could tell you that categorically tonight. And I always say, we normally talk about that,
But every country has to invest in its government. Even the mighty US of A, who we normally take our benchmark from, all of their social security funds are invested in their government. But look how NIS Grenada is doing compared to the other islands in the region. So our exposure to government, look where we are here, at 23.3%. Let's start at the top. We have Anguilla. 77% of their social security funds are invested in their government. Barbados, we normally benchmark against them too. 75% of their social security, of their NIS, is invested in government. Dominica, 41%. St. Vincent, 31%. So we see that we are actually not doing too bad at all. And in fact, since 2015, we are happy to say that the government, when it comes to paying its contributions and also paying all returns on investments, have never been late and are up to date. Okay, so everything is paid up. So we can't say, like some countries, government not paying their contributions, so that's why NIS is in this situation. No. Now, so we see here, since the debt restructuring, everything is up to date. And so since 2015, the government has paid in excess of $25 million to the NIS. And I must also mention, in the debt restructuring, we did not take a haircut. So you should also feel proud about that. There was no haircut, so we don't have to worry. We normally hear these kind of white noises on the radio, but it did not happen to the NIS. But look at what has happened over the years, not just in Grenada, but throughout the region. Sometimes we think it's Grenada alone that's experiencing those sustainability issues. So the issue is not with the NIS, but in how these social security programs are designed. So all over the world, social security, all programs are going through reform. So look, Antigua is reforming. Antigua has had to increase their pension age. We're in 2019, they're already at 62. They also had to increase their contribution rate. We're in 2019, it's at 13% currently. So if you decide, okay, let me move to Antigua, you'll be paying 13%. And they also are increasing the number of contributions required to get a pension. So in Grenada, it's 500. Antigua is saying that, you know what, we have to take additional measures. So now in Antigua, you need 600, and by 2025, you would need 750. And as we move on, we would see the same thing. You say, okay, let me go to Dominica. Dominica's retirement age is already 64. Their contribution rate is already 12.75, and by 2031, it would be 15.75. So it's increasing also. Same thing. Well, actually, worse in Barbados. In Barbados, you decide, okay, let me go to the flatlands. Retirement age 67. Okay, and there are talks to increase it further. And the contribution. What's the contribution rate? 9%, 11%. What's the contribution rate? 23.85%. Same thing in St. Vincent. The pension age currently 62. The contribution rate, 10%, and they're also increasing the number of contributions required to get a pension. Same thing in Anguilla, BVI, Montserrat, and I could go through all of the islands, and you would see that is the same thing. So the actuary is saying that we have to wake up and realize, if we want to protect this institution that is serving the entire Grenadian population, we have to make changes. Okay, to ensure its sustainability. So the actuary made the recommendation to gradually increase the pension age over a period of time from 60 to 65. But even when the pension age increased, you would still have the option to get your pension at 60. That would not change. So if you look at all the other countries who have increased, you still have the option to decide, you know what, I want my pension at 60. But at a reduced rate for every month you take it too early. So for every month you take it earlier than you're supposed to, you would get a suggested 0.5%. That equals to 6% per year. So every year you retire earlier than you're supposed to, you get a reduction. And you also have the option now to take it later. So if you decide, let's suppose the pension age right now is 62, and you decide, you know what, let me work for an extra year and take it at 63. In that case, you get an increase on your pension, same 6%. So you have flexible retirement. So depending on how you feel, you get to decide when you want to retire. Yeah? The other thing that the actuary suggested is a 2% increase in the contribution rate. Okay? And I must say that that increase has been approved and it will take effect from January 1st, 2020. So we're still discussing the pension age. We still want to hear from you in terms of how it should be increased. But the contribution rate will go from 9% to 11% January 1st, 2020. So employees would pay an additional 1% and employers will pay an additional 1%. So employees will go from paying 4% to 5% and the employer from 5% to 6%. So as I conclude, it's important to point out that Grenada is the only country in the OECS who is lagging behind in terms of ensuring the sustainability of its social security. And it's something that we really have to wake up and pay attention and realize for the contribution that the NIS is making to our island, we need to do something before our rate has to increase to 22.5%.
All right, and guys, there you have it. Simple, straight to the point, easy to understand. That is the kind of presentation that we received not only on Sunday, but that this young lady has been going around every single constituency, every church, every community group, every establishment. I believe she even went to Carriacou.
Mm-hmm. So if church leaders, you might be listening right now, you might be interested in getting her to come and speak to your congregation.
Yeah.
Speak to your women's group or your men's group or whatever. Feel free to contact the NIS and ask them for her to come.
Of course.
She'll be more than willing to come and speak because your members, outside of having to pay the tithes, also have to pay the NIS.
Yeah.
And they may want to know what the NIS is being used for.
Yeah. And you see, Charlene, it's sad because if the NIS had just made an executive decision along with the government of Grenada to just implement it, have no consultations, no explanation, and say this needs to be done in order for the NIS to survive, and that's what we're going to do. No further in detail explanation, then the conversation would be different.
Mm-hmm.
We'd be saying, oh, we're being dealt by a bunch of bullies and all of that, and they're just doing what they want. But they are taking the time out to meet the people where they are, to provide you with diluted information. And by diluted, I mean broken down so even the average person can understand.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing all of that.
I think before we continue, I think we have a call coming through on the overseas line.
Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Sister Duncan. Good morning, Brother Sheldon.
Morning, sir.
And I've been listening to that bro for 2 days now. And that's not politics. You know, that's not politics. And we must get that clear. That's everything to the nation, regardless of what forum she go on. It could be NNP, NDC, GLP. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
She not preaching politics. She only preaching what is best for the country.
Yeah.
And Sheldon, remember we had a referendum and we criticized in the referendum because they didn't get enough of it. They didn't know what's going on. That's why they had us to vote this and had us to vote that. And who was criticizing it? The same people today who want to govern this country in the future. The same people who is going back again to tell the people again what the NIS do is wrong. All they need to do is to invite the NIS to get on their forum and explain to the nation. If you really want to run a country, you need to do that. If you're only criticizing Sheldon and Sister Duncan, you could never govern. Because everything you criticize, when you get there, you have to do 100%. And no man is perfect. That's why, if you follow the history, these parties only last one term. One term. Because you try to fool the people to tell them how much you could do. You know, you're not saying the government did this and I feel I could do a little bit better. You're criticizing everything. Zero. And then what happened? When you get there, you cannot reach the mark. So what do people have to do? Just drop you off. That's why my former party could never win a seat. We never win a seat. And another thing I want to go on before I left here is because now they decided to have the convention. And where they're going back to? They're going back to the same old practice. Is Brother Glenn Noel, he's speaking mind. And the reason why he's speaking mind, because he feel he was in a corner the last election.
Oh, you're going to hear him speaking mind shortly.
Speak the truth. Yes, I want to hear him because he speak the truth. And that's all I asked him for them Grenadian people to know. Listen and judge it for yourself. Don't let these people and them come and tell you what to do. Right? Do not let these people and them tell you. Because as one of the ministers said, we're good in opposition. We're very good in opposition. But when you put us there, we could never do nothing. Because we criticize everything the government did. Anyhow, you guys have a good day.
All right,
thank you.
Yeah, don't worry, you go hear Brother Glenn talking mine in a little
Sheldon, you know, he said something that was very, very important for Grenadians to understand. If I ever, God forbid that he gives me wisdom right through my life, have to vote for the NDC, they must tell me exactly what they plan to do before they go into government. For example, they keep talking about government salaries or government ministers' salaries. They increase it and it's too high. And I want to know from now. You have to tell me from now. Don't wait until the election and throw it out there as an election gimmick. Tell me from now. Are you, who is planning to go into government, going to decrease your own salary? I want to know that.
But even they speak about, because I've heard the Public Workers Union, PRO, who is obviously living in another planet or doesn't understand anything about what she's speaking about, saying that this government, this NNP government, gave parliamentarians a pension, which is totally not true. Anyone, you can go to laws.gov.gd. The laws of Grenada are there. You can go and you can find the pension, Members of Parliament Act of 1989, not 2013, 2015, 2016, 2017, or 2018, 2019, of 1989. Yeah? And it was amended in 1990. So it's between two parliaments there. Because technically in 1990 it could have fallen either under the TNP or under the NDC. But I believe it fell under the TNP for the amendment that took place there. And the first part was under the TNP administration, 1989, the Herbert Blaise administration. Yeah? So this was not a situation that the NNP, this NNP, came and put pension in place for parliamentarians. Former Prime Minister Tillman Thomas is benefiting from unless he refused to take it. I don't know. I haven't heard anything saying that he refused to take a parliamentarian's pension.
But that would be interesting to find out. Since your former, well, not former, I guess it's current, political party is saying that it is unfair, it is unheard of, it is uncalled for. I would like to know if all of them that should be benefiting at this point, if they refuse it, that's what I want to know.
It's Comrade Nazim Burke, who served 3 terms in Parliament, twice as a member of the House of Representatives and once as a senator. Is he receiving a pension? Well, no, I don't think he reached pensionable age yet. I wonder if he reached pension. In fact, I think he has. He has crossed it.
Whether he has or not, what I want to know is...
So he qualifies.
Is he going to take it or will he refuse it?
Did he take gratuity? Did he take the gratuity? Did he? Oh no,
there was
the issue. There was the issue on the gratuity.
Yeah.
Because some people were owing taxes. Anyhow, but saying that and talking about pensions and this sort of thing, because you see the attacks coming from people who are uninformed on this issue.
Yeah.
This new National Party administration even between the period 2013 to now, has not addressed the issue of pensions for parliamentarians.
Yeah.
It has not. All it has done is paid people like the Honorable Tillman Thomas and others who have to get a pension.
Yeah.
If they accept it, I don't know. If they do like some people and they take the check and bring it back here, I don't know. But they qualify under that. But to try and make it look like NNP taking a set of stuff for themselves, they keep putting that out there. Yeah? But before we go further, Ms. Duncan, I think it's important for us to read some of the comments that are there.
And we must say that we have people joining us from all over the world.
Yeah.
That just goes to show that people from all over the world listen to what is happening in Grenada.
Yeah. We see Colin is on there, Colin Trail. Yeah.
Right.
He's listening. Brisbane, Australia.
Yeah. And
good eye, mate.
And it means that whatever information we put out there does not stay among Grenadians only, but we have people all over the world looking on. People all over the world concerned.
Let's just get it. Ann Jackson is saying, thank you. Please educate them about the NIS. We're seeing Andre Hackett. He's saying the presentation given by the NIS representative have nothing to do with politics.
Yeah.
It's a reality of the situation. Fools die for want of wisdom.
Of course, he's right. And we have a Marianne, she's saying that it's so sad to see and hear how we as a people have become so negative about everything that goes on in our country. I was dark to see how many persons lined up at the passport office just before the end of the month to purchase passports after the outburst of it being too expensive. We have another one from Marks Williams. He's saying, I cannot believe that some people from the NDC would believe that the lady from the NIS explaining to the Grenadian masses what is happening at the NIS is unethical. It's just unbelievable. Wow. Well, folks, you can invite her to the NDC convention on Sunday so that she can give the same explanation. But we know that's not going to happen, and we know exactly why.
We're seeing Paul there. All you realize that these people and them get angry with this woman when she said that over the past few years, government have paid all what was owed to NIS. NDC won't like to hear them things, and they will never invite her to their convention for people to hear that.
Of course, and Andre Hackett says that he just can't understand how we as a people don't accept the truth and reality. We must support policies, not party, regardless of who sets the right policy. Such a powerful, powerful statement. All right. And she's saying that we have a Jean Robertson. She's listening to the presentation. Well presented. And some people here have not even heard the presentation before, hearing it for the first time. I mean, we have to admit that it was a good thing.
Yeah, indeed. And so, folks, just remember, for those of you that may not be able to listen to the end of today's program, there is a rebroadcast that will be taking place at 8 p.m. via CRFM 89.5, and it will be available online just a few minutes after. Well, we know a lot of people who don't want the ID to show up on the live. They're going to be tuning in because they want to hear what we had to play a little bit.
We have a comment here that's very important that we should comment on as well. Someone is saying NDC is still doing the same thing and expecting different results. That's foolishness. But you know what I want to say to that? We are allowing them to. Because we are seeing them doing the same foolishness, allowing them to do the same foolishness, getting riled up when they do the same foolishness, and we say nothing.
Folks, keep the comments coming. Seeing the listeners on United Kingdom, Antigua. Those of you in the United States over there in California, in Florida, in Washington State, good morning to you. Those of you in Kingston, Jamaica, those of you listening out there in Canada, so, oh man, they're on from all over.
I have my friend in Paris, she's listening, and she is saying that they don't understand that on that side of the world, that they have to work until 64 years minimum before they can even dream about receiving a pension. You know, all of that is information that we need to have, that we need to know.
Well, Ms. Duncan, we've been speaking about the NIS, but there's another big issue as we're doing the Week in Review. Yesterday was the 31st of October. It was the deadline for the various public sector unions to come to an agreement with the government of Grenada as regards the issue of salary increases for the period 2020 to 2022. And it wasn't signed.
Well, what I do know is that the Grenadian Union of Teachers, they are supposed to meet with the government negotiating team, I believe, sometime today, to further discuss cordially. And you see that they're so smart. Cordially talks for 2020.
Yeah.
Only 2020.
Because the thing is that, remember, the budgetary cycle, well, basically, if you work in government service, around this time of year, it's hell hard to get anything paid. Because they're closing shop, and then they're going to start paying again in about January after the budget. It takes a couple of weeks for payments to start again. And budget day is on the 20th of November?
Yeah.
Yeah, so budget day is in 19 days from now. Budget day. Cammy, get your outfit ready. All right? Nice. Yeah. Mommy George, get all your nice dandan ready and thing to be out there. Right?
I believe that the Grenadian Union of Teachers, they would have presented 4.5%, and the government negotiating team would have offered them 3.5%. So, I mean, the talk.
Close.
Look at that. Look
That's
at that.
reasonable.
So when TAWU and PWU went on television talking about 1.5 and 25, almost 25% that they would have wanted, they didn't realize that negotiation is give and take. You need to come with something different and get something different from the other end. So when they went to the table and demanded their 23%, they didn't realize that there was another smart union out there saying, listen, I'm looking out for my people,
Yeah, at the end of the day, he had to face the constituents.
Of course, we have a caller on the line. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Ms. Duncan.
Good morning.
First time I'm chatting with you.
Oh, well, it's nice chatting with you.
Calling from Tobago.
Oh, wow. Good
Tobago
morning.
in the house.
Sharon, how are you doing?
I'm great, man.
Yes, it's a long time now. I have something to say, since 2014.
We, Papa.
And every time I had to call because I know my thing I had to talk about, I can remember meeting Mr. Rondell Robinson. A day, I met him, me and a friend. I met him and I asked him, I say, Brother Rondell, why you always cussing the Prime Minister? So he said, well, my main intention is not to make the government look good or make the country look good at this time. So I said, why? He said, well, that's for them to figure it out, So I say this to say is because a lot of people in Grenada, right? They will be saying a lot of things about Dr. Mitchell, but I know Dr. Mitchell since inception, 1984. I know him from inception when they newly formed the new National Party. And I move around a lot of politicians. I see some of them go, I see some of them come. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I could put my neck on a block for Dr. Mitchell. Dr. Mitchell is a man, he never promised, and nobody can say Dr. Mitchell promises something and he didn't fulfill it. That's one thing I could say about it. If he say he could do that for you, he could do that. But right now, with the new NDC that is there right now, I don't see anybody that could really match up with Dr. Mitchell. If you understand what I'm trying to say. But you have a lot of people in Grenada, they just run on a bandwagon because, it might be a little hype, and it might be this. But Dr. Mitchell has no match right now. You understand what I'm saying? Another thing I want to talk about is that you have a gentleman by the name of Dr. Patrick Antoine. That's my good friend. I met him together with my same friend. I don't know how I'm lucky with this friend. Every time I'm with that friend, I'm meeting people. I said to him, Doc, we're going to think, what's about the old man and him? Because I know the old man passed and thing, because me and his son went to school together in GBSS. So I said to him, I heard that you're going for the NDC. You're going to be the leader. He said, well, the same thing I hear too. I said, what do you mean you hear that too? I said, well, I hear people calling your name and say, he said, well, the same thing I hear too. You understand what I'm saying? So people that just brandish people's name. I said, so you will leave your big income you're getting from outside here and go on and work for that small salary. He say no. You understand what I'm saying? So
my brother,
calling people name,
my brother,
I just meet them.
hold on.
Even Arlene Walker.
My brother, before you even go further on that, what if I told you that he was approached, he was spoken to, by certain people within the NDC to support and to provide assistance, and he has agreed to do so.
Well,
and I ain't asking you. I am telling you as a fact.
Well, I asked him that personally, and he told me he heard.
He didn't say no. He said he heard so too.
Yeah,
there's
a
difference.
Saying, so I would like to see that happen. You understand what I'm saying? Then I know what was mentioned between me and him and the person. So then I'll meet him again because I'm my good friend. If you understand what I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah.
So anytime I meet him, I go ask him why he backtracked.
The response was very technical. He didn't tell you no. He didn't tell you it's untrue. He said, so I hear.
Certain things I can't really mention it because I personal. If you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So I can, but when I say I meet him personally, based on what he's saying, I go, no. I go talk to him concerning that. If you understand what I'm trying to tell you.
You can ask
I
that.
don't have a problem with him if he be the leader of NDC.
I mean, no, not the leader of NDC. No, that's not gonna happen. I can tell you that ain't happening, bro.
Okay. I'm talking about people who get in pension. I know my good friend, and even though I say that now, you won't vex him because I'm a neighbor. That was my neighbor. And me and his paliwal, Mr. Alin Walker. He get any pension. I know for he gained it. Because he told me so. I met him in the bank and he was doing some transaction there and he told me he organized. That's when he organizing it to get it. You understand?
Yeah.
So I know he for sure gained it. So all the best. Tobago is nice right now today. There's a lot of sunny and everything over here nice now.
All right.
Well, I don't know. I never go to the new parliament yet.
Not time for you to do that, man.
I want to beg somebody for a ticket. So if I got a ticket, I'll go be rolling. Something I want to find. If you come early, you could get into the parliament itself or you have to be outside.
No, it's listen, it's a people's building, huh? And budget day is the 20th. But if you're coming for the budget, try and be early because usually there's so many people and it's not like the trade center where you could accommodate roughly 1,000 people or so.
If I come in, I'll do it for about 6 o'clock.
You come in and do the security sweep?
I stand up and sleep.
But you've got to be there.
Okay, I hope I will see Miss Duncan that day. I never met her before.
Yeah.
Yes, I will be there.
All right, bye-bye. Have a nice day.
You too.
Okay, bro.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, you might be very surprised to know. I'm not asking. I am saying for a fact that Mr. Antwine, Dr. Antwine, is offering his support to the National Democratic Congress. If the rank and file general members ain't know, I go tell you. Yeah? I go tell you it's so. Yeah? Don't worry. Time does reveal all kind of things, you know.
It does.
Time does reveal all kind of things. So,
but Sheldon, I mean, I know it's coming down close to the end,
yeah,
and I know you have
you
have something to do. But I must. It would be remiss of me not to make a final statement and say that as a Grenadian people, we must want more for ourselves. It's okay to want more. By right, we should want more. We should want betterment for our country. But at the same time, we must also understand that more comes at a cost.
Mm-hmm.
It may not be in monetary value, but it does come at a cost. It means that you have to offer your services. It means that you have to do your civic duty. It means that you may have to make more of a contribution to a sector. But whatever that sacrifice that you make, somebody somewhere related to, or even you personally, will benefit from that sacrifice. And that is what builds a country. That is what makes a country strong, the unity of its people. So when I hear people like Mr. Pear and Ms. Hazard and so on go on national television and try to tell the Grenadian public to support the unions because they must get more, and completely ignore the fact that they are talking to Grenadians who sometimes don't even have food to eat, who sometimes can't even send their children to school, who sometimes cannot even pay a bus to get to work. It really breaks my heart.
The same people that have to benefit from the social programs that are going to have to be cut.
Yes.
If the demand as is met.
Yes. And I mean, we have to understand that if the government can do more to get more productivity out of its public service, they will do that because it is in their favor. You don't think they do it? They'll do it because it's in their favor. But when they have to be the voice of all people of Grenada and not just the public service, it's a hard decision to make. They must choose. Should we give up the social programs that will benefit the general public and accede to what the union wants? Or should we make the hard decision so that we know that when we go to our constituency office, there aren't lines of people waiting there to get a $50 for food to eat or to buy some gas or to pay a bill? We have to think about all of these things, you know? So it really does break my heart. And when you listen to these programs and you hear people calling and talking about take to the streets and demonstrate.
Well, you see, has been the general trend since 2013. They can't win elections by elections.
No.
So they want to win power by undemocratic means.
Yes, chaos.
So it's always create a state of chaos in the country. So they want protests. Because every time everything happens, they jump up. Oh, we want to see some protests. We want to see some protests. And by the time they call a protest, when you see about 4 or 5 of them stand up somewhere. Because people are way more intelligent than they lend people to be.
Yeah.
You understand? People are way more intelligent than they believe people are. They take the average Grenadian for a fool.
Exactly.
They take the average Grenadian
That's what I was
for
about
an
to
idiot.
say.
That's what they think.
Of course.
I know for a fact Grenadians ain't nobody fool.
Of course. You think I'm going to be sitting at home hungry, don't know how my child is going to school, and jump up in tongue in a placard because the unions want more money for their public workers? I'm not going to do it. I will go in tongue with a placard doing the contrary and saying, take what all they get because other people have to get too. You understand? And that is the mentality that we have to have. There's too much selfishness happening. We have to think about each and every single Grenadian. Even that man on the side of the road that has no income, that has to eat from the garbage bin. You have to think about that person too. How can I help? What can I do to make a difference within my country? You understand?
Because that person obviously has a mental problem. Because the only people that eat out of garbage bin in this country is people with mental
problems. You know, that old man and that old lady who never pay NIS and not receiving a pension at the end of the month but has to depend on somebody to help them. These are the things that we have to consider. The housing problem, the massive housing problem that we have in Grenada. How do we fix that? How do we contribute to that? Even the road work. You know, now they're going around trying to do surface work, but there's so much of a bigger issue than just doing surface work. The money has to come from somewhere. We have to be mindful of that and be mindful of the fact that every Grenadian must benefit from the proceeds of what Grenada makes as a whole, from the profits of our country.
Ms. Duncan, quickly running out of time. Now,
yes.
I wanted to play a piece of audio today. But I am being advised that it is best to hold on to what I have. Reason being, I want a situation, and we don't want a situation, where my source is exposed. I don't want my source exposed. Why would I expose my source? Because you may very well hear a voice that they could make out outside of the voices that are there speaking about Dr. Antoine and the fact that he has agreed to work along with the National Democratic Congress of Grenada. Outside of hearing Glenn's voice and what he says about the leadership in 2013 and 2018 of the NDC, outside of hearing their voices and what they had to say, outside of hearing presentations by people like Ms. Pascal and Persuader, who wants to be the political leader of the NDC, but some people trying to push him back into being deputy political leader, outside of those presentations and so on, you may hear something that may lead them to understand. And I kind of need to hear what's going on Sunday in certain places. So they could hold all the phone they want, they could do what they want, but at the end of the day, do you think they're going to stop me from finding out what I have to find out? While it's going on, I will know. But I can tell you this, huh? It's interesting that and I'll take a shot at this one. It's interesting that the race for public relation officer in the NDC is between Claudette Joseph, a woman who went out there and called the people that support the New National Party needy and greedy. Ian Django Thomas, an individual, he's also going up for Assistant General Secretary, Coordinator for the Eastern Zone. If he don't get one, he hope he get the other one. But individual that went on public radio and speak about somebody giving him money to go and show a child. And the third individual, Senator Ron Redhead, who is another one that went in the parliament of the country speaking about a non-existent issue with Nawasa in a community. He was saying that, look, the people up there are dirty water. When they went, Nawasa go, they interview people, and the people say, we don't know what you're talking about. Not here, wrong area, not we. So these are the three people. The needy and greedy lady, the child man, and the woman, the one that talking about dirty water. That is your selection for PRO. It's been an interesting year for PRO at the NDC too, you know. Because earlier they had Randall, well, he run. And all of a sudden you had Kennedy, who disappeared after he talked about he wanted to be leader of the party. So Kennedy Roberts disappeared.
And these are the people that we want to govern our country.
Yeah, these are the people that say they want to govern. I mean, then you have the acting political leader who will now go down in history after Sunday. I can guarantee you, he will go down in history now as the one political leader of the NDC never to take them into a general election.
Oh, God.
No, seriously. Joseph Andal has made history. He will become the first political leader of the NDC that has never taken the party into a general election. You had Braffett, you had Brizan, you had Joan Purcell, you had Tillman Thomas, you had Nazim Burke, and then you had Andal, the one that never take the party into a general election. But it's going to be an interesting dynamic. Good luck, folks.
Good luck, folks. That's all we can say.
Good luck, eh? All right, Popos? That's all I have to say on that. Watch, all you go and light all your candle tonight. If I go and play that now, I think that there's a possibility that I may sell out my source. Yeah. I want to let you know who my sources are. Right? It's like you're making a cook and sometimes you put a different sauce in it. You people know what sauce you have in your thing. So I ain't going to sell out my sauces. But be assured, Ide, and all you know from what I said that it is here. Yeah? Guaranteed. And I will have some to add to it by next week. Or you can't stop that. We'll try all you want. Or you can't stop that. Folks, that's about all the time we had for Hard Talk today. It's been an interesting week. We're looking forward to Budget Day, the 20th of November. Coming up, folks. Yeah, organize. Be in a position. Listen to me. Be in a position on the 20th to listen carefully. Yeah, bingo on Sunday. Bingo. By stadium. Bingo. Where's the price? Car. It's all kind of watch it our prize. Bingo in the stadium Sunday. Right. $100,000? Yeah, but all kind of thing. Watch. Bottom line, bingo in the stadium. But folks, be in a position on the 20th of November to listen to the budget presentation. Listen to the budget. Hear what was said. Don't let anybody have to come and tell you what was said. Hear for yourself.
Yeah.
Here at Hard Talk, we are going to make sure that it's online and that it's on terrestrial radio through all normal means for everybody to hear.
Yeah.
And not just the budget presentation on the 20th, but the House of Representatives and the Senate presentations afterwards. Mm-hmm. We're going to make sure that you hear every word that is said, no matter how long it takes into the night or whatever. We are going to broadcast it for you to hear what was said so that you can be educated.
Of course.
On the budget and what it. Nobody ain't coming and tell you, well, they say this, and they try to twist the information. No, hear it for yourself.
And what we aspire to do here at Hard Talk always is to ensure that we have information that can reach every class of person. So if you find the words in the budget a little bit too big, we're going to break it down. Mm-hmm. We're going to pull it apart, and we're going to explain it to you. We're going to bring in the professionals. And you don't want to hear from us all of the time, but we'll make sure that the professionals are here to explain it to you and give you a forum in which you can ask the relevant questions and get some answers.
Yes, indeed. Folks, that's all the time we have for Hard Talk today. On the 20th, we usually do a special program, and it's the budget day. So at the end of the budget presentation, you have different people coming into the studio and talking and so on. You see Mr. Duncan and the people, and then I might be over in the parliament. They, put on my nice suit and thing and go across and listen a little something, you understand?
Yeah.
Yeah, so It is going to be an interesting November, starting off All Saints tonight. Bingo on Sunday. Anybody get served today, boy? Anybody get served? Somebody getting served today? 2 people getting served today? News for next week, boy. Anyhow, yeah, and we look forward to hearing what's the outcome of today's meeting with the GUT.
Yes, I love to hear, after all of the drama that would have happened earlier this year, I love to hear that we have all become mature, sensible adults in dealing with matters that affect the people of our country.
Yes, indeed, folks. So as we said, that's all the time we have for today. We are out of here. In everything you say and do it safe and secure. One is speaking to and with you.
And not about you.
We are out of here.
Sunday,
walls are bound to crumble
Santa
unto
Claus
the
will be at the National Stadium as Megaforce Promotions presents Christmas in November.
The Mega Bingo.
Imagine you can win up to $100,000 in raw cash. There'll be 18 games at $5,000 each and 1 game at $10,000. Tickets are $60 for one, $100 for two.
This year, Christmas is coming early.
As Megaforce Promotions present Christmas in November, the Mega Bingo.
Are you ready to win?
Grenada, it's coming as the Ministry of Youth, Development, Sports, Culture and the Arts brings to you National Youth Week 2019, and it's 1 full week of activities, vibes and action as the nation turns their attention on the nation's youth. And it's from Saturday, October 19 till Saturday, November 2nd under the theme Embracing Opportunities, Sowing Higher. October 19th and 20th, National Community Service Weekend, island-wide. October 26th, Health Walk and Ministers Address. October 28th, WeiVybz. October 29th, St. John's Youth Parliament. October 30th, Job Fair and Career Day. October 31st, Fun Nights. November 1st, Discovering Talents and Expo. November 2nd, it's National Youth Awards. Sunday, November 3rd, Ecumenical Service and Peace Concert. So urging everyone to be a part of Youth Week 2019. October 19th to November 2nd. Now this is the big one as Culture Train String Band Group presents The Parent Train 2.0 from Friday, November 1st to Saturday, December 21st. And we kick things off on the Sister Isle. Friday, November 1st, the Brunswick Cemetery. November 9th, Bristol Shop in Leicester. November 15th, Modest Shop in Mount Royal. November 16th, Waynes Bar, Hillsborough. November 22nd, Brongo Shop, Harvey Vale. November 23rd, Goosey Shop, Winwood. November 27th, Sky Shop in Brunswick. November 29th, we head to Union Island to Hugh Malzat Square, Clifton. November 30th, we inside P.T. Martinick at Jigs Cross. December 4th, Pro Shop, Belvedere. On December 6th, we head to the mainland Grenada at Travelers Bar, Grandmore. And on December 8th, Gold's Bar under the Bamboo, Pedmota. December 11th, Marvin Shop in 6 Roads. And on Saturday, December 21st, it's the grand finale round the island. And all events start from 7 p.m. Parent Train 2.0 brought to you by Grenada Tourism Authority, Government of Grenada, Grenada Distillers Limited, DigiCell, WeiVybz FM, Sister Isle Radio, Amazing Colors, Ariza Credit Union, and Booms Construction.
The Parent Train, and they'll be coming in by you.
Grenada government provides relief for retired public servants. Details to this story and more in the national report. With the details to the news for Thursday, October 31st, 2019, I am Rakisha St. Louis. A promise by the government of Grenada to bring greater financial security and improved social well-being to retired public officers who are currently not receiving benefits from government is now a reality. The advanced payment to qualifying retirees commenced Wednesday, October 30th at the Ministry of Finance. These retirees received the payments inclusive of retroactive benefits. Thereafter, the monthly payment from government will be the top-up that will ensure that retirees receive at least 70% of their last salary when combined with the NIS benefit. This payment is provided as a buffer while the public awaits the court ruling on the matter of pension for public officers. Beneficiaries expressed their gratitude to the government for this initiative.
Now the Prime Minister has took upon himself also to assist me and the other colleagues, and I'm very grateful to you, Mr. Prime Minister, and I thank you for the move you have made. I will say that the Spirit of God has moved upon your heart. And I want to say thank you very much, sir.
This whole thing that we welcome that, and we do appreciate that, right? Because we didn't expect what we get. So we're going to make it work, and we are thankful and we are grateful for it. We thank the doc for that. The members of staff who have put everything together, the hard days, the hard nights, the paperwork, etc., etc. We do appreciate that. And we thank you from deep within our hearts.
I know my Prime Minister was not going to neglect me. I know he was not going to neglect me because I told him he had promised me and he should keep up his promise in that interview. I'm very grateful, you know. This has brought a lot of comfort to me, you know. I have little things to do like my bills, you know, some of the utility bills I have to pay and so on, you know. This has meant a lot to me, you know. I'm going to use it wisely. I'm happy, you know. It could have been better, you know, it could have been better, but there are times when you have to take it and run. You have to take what you get and run with it, you know. Okay, I'm grateful. Prime Minister, thank you. Thank you very much.
Some retirees recall the challenges they faced without any pension and lauded the initiative of the government.
Before retiring, I realized that I had a concern about my pension, and other workers was also complaining about their pension. So I went personally to the Prime Minister and I spoke to him face to face. And I also went to the media. And I had my concern and I viewed my concern concerning the pension. And I think it was a good move I made, because here I am today that the Prime Minister could have given us a check in advance towards our pension. And I'm very grateful for it, because the times were very hard from since 2017 when I retired, September 5th.
It has been a bit rough because without no pension, it's a difficult undertaking with people who have their little homes to live and having to pay mortgage. It was quite difficult. So I think this initiative by the government to come up with that solution at the moment, maybe a temporary solution, but I think it's very good. As Dr. Mitchell himself put it as the Prime Minister, it's more a moral thing rather than a legal thing. And I think he understands the pressure that people have been feeling over the years. So it's very good. It's undertaken from the government.
Prime Minister and Minister for Finance, Dr. the Right Honourable Keith Mitchell, described the occasion as historic, significant and extremely close to his heart. This proposed advance payment covers one category of retirees. Government acknowledges that other retirees will be considered in future phases of this initiative. Continuing the news, the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, ECCB, says effective November 1st, the Bank of Nova Scotia operations in Grenada, Anguilla, Dominica, St. Lucia, St. Kitts and Nevis, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines will cease, and the Republic Financial Holding Limited operations will commence in these territories. On September 6th, the ECCB, in consultation with the ECCB Monetary Council, approved the application for the transfer of the assets and liabilities of the Bank of Nova Scotia to the Republic Financial Holding Limited in the territories. Approval was also granted for the Republic Financial Holdings Limited to include Republic Bank, the Eastern Caribbean Limited, a St. Lucia-based subsidiary which will operate branches in Dominica, St. Kitts and Nevis, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Republic Bank Anguilla Limited, a subsidiary of Republic Bank EC Limited, and Republic Bank Grenada Limited, which will acquire the Bank of Nova Scotia Grenada operations. The ECCB says it is resolute about its mandate to protect the EC dollar and will continue to maintain high levels of foreign reserves while protecting the stability of the banking system. This is the National Report. More news after the break.
Did you join the public service on or after February 22nd, 1985 and have since retired? This might be important to you. Government understands that the NIS pension may be insufficient to take care of your needs. So, while it awaits the court's ruling on the matter of pension for public officers, government has taken action to protect your quality of life so that you can take care of your needs in the meantime. Persons who joined the public service on or after February 22nd, 1985 and serve continuously in an established position for a minimum 26 years and 8 months and retired at age 60 may be eligible to receive an advance payment, which when combined with NIS represents 70% of their last salary. For more information, call or visit the Pension Secretariat in the Department of Public Administration, Ministerial Complex, 440-3767.
Welcome back. The government of Grenada has begun construction work on the Simone Cultural Centre in St. Andrew, bringing with it added employment opportunities in the parish. Phase 1 of the project entailed demolition of the existing pavilion. The second phase of the project, which is currently underway, has a contracted cost of $200,000. It involves fencing the perimeter. The Government Information Service accompanied Honorable Kate Lewis, parliamentary representative for the constituency of St. Andrew North East, on a tour of the project on Wednesday. She says this is important not only for her constituents but the entire country. Major cultural activities were held at the pavilion before it was destroyed by Hurricane Ivan in 2004.
What we are seeing here is actually the second phase of the Simon Cultural Center project. Last year we did the first phase, which was the demolition of the old structure. So in the second phase, the fencing of the grounds for the cultural center. It is important that we fence before we start the construction because we need to protect the materials and everything else that will be there. So what you are seeing happening now is the preparation for the actual fencing. So you'll see some of the holes being dug and the poles being planted or so. But this is the second phase.
She says the project has already generated employment for a number of men in the community.
So far, the contract has already been signed and the work is taking place. The contractor is on scene with some of the workers here. We expect to have, throughout the whole project, over 20-30 persons involved on a rotation basis employed in the fencing phase of this project. The estimated cost of this project is almost $200,000. We had budgeted over $300,000, but based on the work that has to be done, it's over $200,000.
Kurt Rennie is the contractor for Phase 2 of the project. He spoke with GIS about the scope of work done so far.
The project has started this week, making it 3 weeks, right? And so far we are in the phase of casting the poles. We already dig the hole, dig the trench, and right now we're in the casting phase of the poles.
How many men do you have with you to execute this job?
At present we'll be working on rotation, We'll try to do it in phase. So in this phase, we have at least 8 men, and the next phase after, which is pulling up the fence, we'll hire a different set. So in all, it might come up to about 40 workers.
One resident also spoke to the importance of the reconstruction of the center and its prospect for further economic development.
I feel good about that. It's good to have the community center in Simon to build the place. Simon need to develop. You need to have more activities going on in Grenada.
Removal of the derelict vehicles is expected to take place well in advance of Phase 3 of the project. Finally, in the news, residents of Carriacou will soon enjoy potable water as the government partners with the Italian government and the Caribbean Community for Climate Change Center and NAWASA to implement a water project. The US $1.25 million project will see an expansion of the water supply to the rural areas of Carriacou. Minister for Carriacou and Petit Martinique Affairs, Honorable Kindra Matthew Stewart, is happy that following a poor rainy season this year, the island's dependence on rainwater will be a thing of the past.
We had very, very little rain thus far. As you're aware, most of the water that we use on a daily basis by the people of Carriacou is rainwater that has been harvested. And so once there is intermittent rain, it means therefore that there will be intermittent supply of water. With the changing weather pattern, with climate change, there's an urgent need for us to expand the existing water project on Carriacou to able to extend potable waters to major institutions, whether it's a police station, whether it's the hospitals, to health centers, to and also households throughout Carriacou and Petit Martinique. As a matter of fact, Petit Martinique is already covered. Petit Martinique now receives water through NAWASA at their homes. So it's an expansion project for Carriacou.
She says the project includes, but is not limited to, the installation of a desalination plant and distribution system and upgrade of the current water system.
It involves the installation of a second saltwater reverse osmosis desalination plant, the installation of a PV system, which is an electrical system to power the plant, the upgrade and intake system at the existing plant that we have at Seaview, and the installation of a new distribution system to the north and south of the island.
Pipes for the project were delivered in March of this year, and May 2020 has been given as the completion date for the water project.
At present, the procurement of the new plant and the PV system are ongoing. NAWASA is looking at options for site for the new plant in the Windward area. Further, NAWASA and of course the Caribbean Community Climate Change Center are finalizing a new implementation schedule for the remaining works. It is expected that an environmental and social assessment, impact assessment at the new location once identified will be done. The project also entails the procurement and installation of the new plant and of course the PV system, the upgrading and intake of the present plant to improve its reliability, the installation and distribution of lines to the existing plant to the hospital, and also throughout the south, from 6 roads to Hermitage, including Leste and Loristan.
That story just ended the national report for today, Thursday, October 31st. Let's recap the top story. Grenada government provides relief for retired public servants. On behalf of the entire news team here at the Government Information Service, I am Rakisha St. Louis saying thank you for joining us. Until next time.